Hey everybody, I wanted to talk to you today about our president, George Bush. Let's impeach George Bush. George Bush is not a good president. In fact, it is my opinion that George Bush is one of the worst presidents we have ever had. We need to impeach George Bush. Now, I'm not the only one that thinks this. Recently, Rosie, Rosie who was in a big argument with Donald Trump, Rosie O'Donnell and Donald Trump. I'm sure a lot of you all saw that. Well, Rosie thinks we should impeach Bush too. And I don't agree with Rosie about everything, but I do think that we need to impeach Bush. So I've made some Impeach Bush designs. In fact, I've made a whole series of Bush designs. Bush the Village Idiot is one of them. Bush Speaks Gibberish is another one. So if you read the sidebar description of this video, I have the links to these and other anti-Bush designs. I've got a whole series of really nice anti-Bush designs, very similar to this one, that say Impeach Bush. And if you agree with me that George Bush is the worst president we've ever had, or at least one of the worst ones, then please go to my gallery site, get some Impeach Bush designs. Let's promote this idea of impeaching Bush. I mean, after all, there was a movement to, they wanted to impeach Clinton for just an extramarital affair he had and not being forward about it. So here you have a president, George Bush, who has lied to the whole country, who is responsible, indirectly responsible, for over 3,000 soldiers who have died in Iraq. His response to 9/11 by invading Iraq has essentially doubled the casualties that are due to terrorism. And the longer we stay in Iraq, the more American soldiers and young men and women there are going to be who become targets of terrorist attacks and die. There is a better way to handle the terrorist and deal with terrorists. You don't make a war against a whole country and against a whole people to deal with what amounts to a handful, relatively, of terrorists. When you target terrorists, you should target the terrorists. You don't target a whole state. You don't target a whole nation. You target the terrorists. Everyone, the majority of people in Iraq, everyone is not a terrorist. Relatively speaking, in Afghanistan and Iraq, and even if you extend it throughout the Arab world, there are relative to the whole population, to all the people, there's only a handful of terrorists. It's just like in the United States. There's only a handful of terrorists in the United States. We have terrorists in the United States. We have religious fanatics in the United States. There are terrorists in every country in the world. You don't target the whole nation because of a handful of terrorists in that country. So, I suggest that because George Bush has lied to the American people, that we at least call for his impeachment. This is serious, people. George Bush has lied to America. We should call for his impeachment. If Rosie O'Donnell can see this, certainly the majority of Americans should be able to see this. We have a village idiot here as President of the United States. We have someone who is addicted to oil. This person needs to be booted out of office. So, hope you get behind me with this. Let's impeach him.